So whether you're hiring a realtor or not, these 10 tips I'm going to give you to sell your house fast with a realtor or without one are key to getting the most out of selling your home, and we're going to get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. This is All Things Knoxville, and I am Ben Barredo, a local real estate pro and relocation expert for East Tennessee. Today we're going to discuss 10 tips to help you sell your home fast with a realtor or without one. And before we get into that though, I just wanted to remind you that on this channel I talk about all things Knoxville. Living in Knoxville, what Knoxville has to offer, why life here is good, and I also give tips to buyers and sellers that are considering making a move in the real estate market. So if you like stuff like that, please make sure to come back. I release a new video every single Monday. Alright, so as I said, we are going to be discussing 10 tips to help you sell your home fast with a realtor or without one. So these are 10 things that you should be doing to prepare your home for the market, and they're going to help you get the most out of selling your home. Whether that is selling it fast, selling it for more money, whatever the case is, if any good realtor is going to tell you to do these things anyway, but if you could be a step ahead of the game and have them ready for whenever you sit down to talk to a realtor, or before you stick that for sale by owner ad on Zillow, it's going to help you go a long way in the process and make you get your house under contract that much faster. So let's get started with those 10 tips. And tip number 1 is don't do it on your own. That's right. Don't sell your home on your own. Listen, for sale by owners only account for 7% of all homes sold, and this is data taken from the National Association of Realtors from 2021. 7%, that's not a lot of sales. Another thing to think about is the typical for sale by owner. When they sold their home, the average sales price for sale by owner in the United States was $260,000. Now, what was the average sales price for a homeowner that used a professional real estate agent? $318,000. That's a $58,000 difference. So all of your talk about saving on commission, in the end, you're really more than likely not saving anything. Another reason to sell on your own is that 87% of buyers are using a real estate professional to find them their home. And real estate professionals don't scan Zillow looking for sale by owners. We have access to the MLS, which, as you can tell, is over 90% of the available homes and properties that are for sale in the market. And additionally, we know what we can expect when working with another realtor, another licensed professional. When there's a for sale by owner, a private seller, a homeowner involved, usually this kind of person is going to have some level of an ego anyway, and you never know what kind of experience you're going to have with the closing process on that home. So for the most part, unless there are no other options a real estate agent can bring their client, they are avoiding for sale by owners. Okay, so let's get into some real tangible tips. And tip number 2 is to declutter your home. This is an obvious one, but you would be surprised at what people think is decluttered and what people don't. At the end of the day, if it's not necessary for the room, then it should be gone. Shelves should be clear except for maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 objects, and rooms should be as clear, as much furniture as possible. The reason you want it decluttered is because you want to show off the size of the rooms, especially when rooms are small. The more stuff you have in it, the tighter it feels. It's almost like a closet. So you want to declutter the home, shove everything in closets and garages. Just make sure that when the next step, or when photos are taken of the house, that those garage and closets aren't in the photograph. But when possible, take your stuff off the property and put it in a storage so that the people can also explore the closets of the home and the garage, which are important to buyers. But decluttering is important. It adds light to the room. It gives a better sense of size. It allows buyers to imagine their furniture and their stuff in the house and what it could be for their home. So along with decluttering, if possible, try to take out personal items. Take a lot of all the family photos. If you got like 20 on a wall, try to limit them down to 2 or 3. And whenever possible, try to get rid of them so that the buyer can walk around the house and imagine it's theirs again. Tip number 3 is you want to deep clean your house from top to bottom. Whenever possible, get a professional cleaner. I always opt to pay for a professional cleaner with my listings because I know it's going to be done to a certain level. Again, every homeowner has a different opinion of what a deep clean is, and that's why I say from top to bottom. You can't smell the odors in the house that you've been living with for months and especially years. If you got a bunch of cats or those litter boxes or the dog hair, you more than likely have learned to live with it to a point where it doesn't even register in your brain anymore. But for a buyer who's walking into the property the first time, it can hit them like a freight train. Additionally, when a house is messy and dirty, the first thing that goes through the mind of a buyer and their realtor is if they couldn't take the time to clean their house to sell it, then how much neglect has this house had over the years? And it immediately puts up red flags in the minds of those that you want to sell your home to. Fourth on the list is make a list of repairs, weekend repairs, and then knock them out. Whether it's changing light bulbs or fixing a small leak under the sink, try to go through the house and knock out as many of those repairs as possible. It's going to be one less thing that shows up on an inspection report, and one less thing that the buyers can use in their negotiations of trying to save money and bring that sales price that you're excited about down. Alright, fifth on the list is painting. Paint the house. If it's dark colors, paint some light colors on there. Fresh paint in a room gives the house a new feeling, and it immediately gives it a sense of value higher than it would be if you hadn't painted the rooms. Also, depending on the type of paint you choose, it can make rooms look bigger and brighter. So definitely paint, and if possible, get some professional advice on what colors to go with so that you are really enhancing the beauty of that house and those rooms in that house as you put it on the market. Alright, sixth on the list, I hinted at this already, and that is professional photography. You want to get professional photography every time. Now, buyers will complain that the house always looks better online than in person, but guess what? They're complaining about it after they've seen it. If you don't put professional photos, good-looking photos online, that's the first impression. It's like walking into a job interview wearing a tracksuit rather than wearing a shirt and tie. You're just not making a good impression, and more than likely those buyers are going to skip your property listing to move on to the other property that has a really attractive profile picture and then follows it up with great pictures of the home and the property in the listing details. So get professional photography as whenever possible. Alright, 7 on the list is landscaping. This is again going back to the first impression. When a buyer pulls up to the property, they're seeing it from the road, and you want it to look good. You want them to jump out of their car and want to see more. The last thing you want is overgrown bushes, unkept grass, a dirty exterior home, because again, it raises that question. It raises those red flags of what else is wrong with this property. No, you don't want that. So get some professional landscaping, or get out there yourself and cut the grass and trim those bushes. And if you don't have them, plant some flowers and put some potted plants on the porch and just make it look attractive. Okay, 8, I kind of hinted at immediately, but that's putting plants in the house. Plants in a home adds life, it adds color, and it can make the house feel more warm and welcoming. Now, I'm not saying put hanging plants in every single room and just flood the room with plants. No, that's not what I mean. But maybe like one plant on this table, maybe a plant per room, I guess would be is a good rule of thumb. If you got small little plants, maybe 2 per room, not more than that. But just a plant in rooms that can really add life to a property and really make it look that much better to the buyer. And if you can't opt for live plants, if you don't have the time to take care of them, fake plants work as well. Okay, tip number 9 is going back to photography, but you want to make a video tour of the property. If you can add a video to your listing and give someone a virtual walkthrough, a virtual idea of what the property looks like, it's so much more impactful and real than even great photography. So you want to opt for video whenever possible. And tip number 10, I'm repeating myself here, but that is hire a real estate professional to sell your home. I can't tell you again how important this is. I know I said this already, but 1, you're going to make more money if you use a realtor. But here are the reasons why that's true. As a for sale by owner, you can put your house on Zillow. Maybe you'll put it on Craigslist. Maybe you'll take the time to put it on 3, 4, 5 different real estate websites. Now, at the end of the day, how much exposure do you think you're really getting? And do you know how to manipulate that listing so after a week, when it's no longer considered new and it drops off, how to keep it refreshed at the top so that it continues to be found by buyers? Do you know how that works? Additionally, how much exposure do you think you can get for a house versus a real estate professional that has access to the MLS, that has marketing plan, and works with other realtors, with buyers and networks, and this is what they do for a living? At the end of the day, no matter how much experience you've had as a for sale by owner, if you've sold 5 properties in your lifetime, which is a lot for a civilian to sell, that one realtor, even a bad realtor, probably sells 5 properties a year. So even then, they have more experience in this process at getting homes sold. Alright, so if you are watching this, then there's probably a part of you that's thinking of selling. Otherwise, you wouldn't click on a video that says 10 tips to how to sell your house fast with or without a realtor. So if that's you and you're considering selling your home on your own, if you're thinking about it, if you're playing with the idea, whether you're doing that in a few months, whether you're doing it 2, 3 years down the road, then what you need to do is go down in the description and click on the link that's going to take you to this guide, The Real Cost of Selling Your Home on Your Own. This guide right here is going to go through all of the different financial obligations you're going to have as a homeowner when you decide to sell your home, from out-of-pocket expenses, preparing your home for the market, to expenses you may face once you're under contract, all the way to closing costs and what you're more than likely going to be paying your realtor. So make sure to go in the description, click on the link, and check out that guide right now. Other than that, that's all I got for y'all. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for stopping by, and until next week, bye-bye.